Today I'm going to talk about some thoughts about the season. This time of year is hard for a lot of us, and I just want you to know that if you're struggling, you aren't alone. If you like this episode, please check out my website, 60milesfromanywhere.com, where you'll find more stories on my blog as well as insights about creative writing. My fiction is available on Amazon.com, and you can find the link on my website. The book is called Song of the Cinder, and it's available in both trade paperback and ebook for Kindle. It makes a great gift for that lover of fantasy, alternate history, or horror in your life. Your donation to support this podcast and my website are always appreciated. You can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link on my site. Be sure to leave a rating or a comment on the platform you are subscribed to as well. Ratings and comments help improve my rankings on platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and many others. I'm also an affiliate with Origin USA, a company that makes boots, jeans, and martial arts gear, and all sorts of other things that are 100% American-made. Click the link on my website and use code Harris10 for 10% off your purchase. I've been wearing my boots for nearly 2 years, and I never leave home without them. They work great on the trail, and if you polish them up, you can even wear them to a nice restaurant for dinner. All content is written, recorded, and produced by me, Clinton A. Harris. If you're interested in working with me for podcasting, writing, or other projects, please contact me via the links on my website at 60milesfromanywhere.com. The last few weeks have been really cold. Yes, it is winter, and that kind of thing is to be expected. Recently, a cold front dropped down from Canada and hit most of the interior of the United States. Places reported temperatures in the extreme sub-zero range. Oddly enough, we didn't get hit with it too badly. But as always, there's been a lot of wind, and it's cold enough. I don't have thin blood. The last time I went to the doctor, they actually said my blood was too thick, and I should donate blood a few times a month to compensate for this. Excuse my cynicism, but isn't that the same racket doctors were running when they were putting leeches on people? Why is their first reaction to anything to start making people bleed? If my body wants to create more red blood cells, I'm sure it has a good reason, and I'm going to let it. They wanted to put me on statins. They wanted me to do a sleep study. They wanted to run some more tests. It's always pills and some kind of weird apparatus to put on somebody. Almost as a side note, my cardiologist told me that a significant chunk of the things I was concerned about could have been remediated by just getting more sleep. I was about 1.5 years into an insomnia jag at the time. Their solution was to prescribe drugs that made me sleepy. Oddly enough, these same drugs were also antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds, though I wasn't being treated for either of those, just the insomnia, which was a major contribution to my situational anxiety and depression. Situational anxiety means shitty things are happening to you outside of your control, and so your body is in a constant state of fight or flight. This also leads to depression. My cortisol levels were through the roof. I couldn't sleep, and when I took the drugs, I slept, but not a very restful REM sleep. I woke and felt hungover most of the day, and that cut into my ability to work, which made me anxious and more depressed. The most interesting thing I learned about the drugs they prescribed was the one way to fix depression and anxiety seems to be just make you sleep through it. These drugs profoundly affect your body when you take them. Just to give you perspective, my insomnia can take Xanax like Skittles without any effect. These drugs knock you on your ass. They give you fucked up dreams when you do dream. They're nightmares, really. They made the insomniac in me not want to sleep, but there would be nights where I would be in tears, just wishing I could sleep. 1.5 years of that, with maybe only a few dozen nights in there, where I was exhausted enough to just sleep the whole night through. If this is how the medical community approaches mental health, by numbing people enough, or making them sleep through their challenges, it hasn't progressed any further than the leeches and the bloodletting. Taking naps wasn't a problem. I was taking naps mostly because I was catching up on quality sleep, but only an hour or two at a time. They were a contributing factor as to why I wasn't getting a lot of work done, which of course compounded my anxiety and depression when it came to not having any money. 2022 has been a shit show for the most part, with a few exceptions, of course. On my birthday in September, I stood at a few thousand feet above the North Atlantic Ocean, looking out over sea cliffs in Ireland on an epic solo road trip. Taking the trip was the best prescription I got all year for depression and anxiety. It wasn't a vacation so much as it was a reset, a work trip where I got to write about my experiences. I am a writer, after all. I got to share those experiences with people in print as well as here to the sound of my voice. It was a spiritual pilgrimage more than anything, a work trip, an adventure. It was what I needed to fight those demons of depression and anxiety, and other than 3 nights in hostels, I slept like the dead. I even slept on the side of the road late one night on my drive back to the Airbnb. In that place, I was removed from all the bullshit that was giving me situational depression and anxiety. I had a goal, a purpose, and I was engaged with myself in a way that made me feel alive. Maybe for the first time in over a year. Ever since I lost my son to a bureaucratic system of oppression we call our legal system. They did us both dirty. I ended a situationship with someone I was involved with, long distance, and family shenanigans have been threatening to take away the place I've called home for the last 2 years. A place that has been in my family for several generations, but I've been the only one to make much effort into dragging it back out of the depths of ruin. One relative who lives next door only seems to care about shoveling a 10-foot swath of sidewalk, scowling at people, and falling asleep at the kitchen table while reading paperbacks all day long. They're litigious, but nothing I'm saying here is untrue, and even if it were, it would cause no damages to them seeking gainful employment, especially since they haven't held a job in longer than 3 months for the last 10 years. So if they are listening, I just want to say, fuck you. And yet, I'm the one that gets screwed. I'm being vocal about it because I'm getting screwed most of my life. My grandparents doled out affection like they were rationing it. One cousin got car after car, which he rolled or wrapped around trees, high on coke or booze. My other cousins probably got less love than I did, which is saying something. My grandparents were cold. The only laughter they had was when they were dragging someone in town they thought was less than them, usually in their time of need. They've been dead for over a decade, but that chilliness still remains in this house. So when I tried to make this place into something that was filled with laughter and joy, some people didn't quite take to that. They didn't want to allow that to happen. Selfish, narcissistic, malicious. So this place is cold again, just how they all seem to like it. Each year, time and the harsh climate of this place pull a little bit more moisture out of the bones of this house. The boards shrink. You can hear the nails and the joists popping. The chill seems to radiate up through the floor. I can't stop the entropy that is affecting this place, pulling it down to its base molecules. Winter is hard in this place. It's cold, unforgiving, and isolated. I look out the window and I love the view of the mountains and the sharpness of that blue sky, the icy clouds. But I see the contrails of airlines crisscrossing the sky, and I wish I was up there, headed somewhere else. Someplace warm. The other day, the wind was howling against the walls of the house. The thermostat on my heater read 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It's an exaggeration, since the room was really around 65, but the chill coming off that exterior wall was only about 50 degrees. I wear shoes indoors. I drip the faucets to keep the pipes from freezing and breaking. The water comes out of the pipe at about 34 degrees. I wonder if I'll ever live in a house again where it isn't always this cold. A place with a yard for my dog to run around. Or a place to sit with my friends around a fire pit without some cranky-ass neighbor standing in the background, throwing hate daggers with her eyes because, god damn it, nobody is allowed to have fun in this grim fucking place. I think about sunny summer afternoons with wildflowers growing on a hillside. The sound of a warm wind through the leaves making them quake. I think about sheets hanging on the line and the songs of birds from a distant spring. Like my trip to Ireland, I need to set goals. That's what my therapist says anyway. Not drugs to put me to sleep, but an experience to wake me up again. She told me I need to set goals for myself. The way I'm built, I push back against rigidity and structure. I need choices, direction, fulfillment. I can choose to sit and rot in this house, or I can do laundry and dishes. I can pick up the house. I can stay moving, stay active. I can choose to write something. I can choose to work on my book. I can write another script for another podcast. I can reach out and ask anyone if they want to partner with me as an affiliate. I can tell stories that affect people. I can open myself up to new possibilities and new relationships. I don't have to let myself get as cold as this place that hardly ever had a warm heart beating inside these walls and floors. This town has been decorated in Christmas lights since before Thanksgiving, but not for the locals. Just for the benefit of potential investors who might want to put a chunk of a community on the cusp of becoming a ghost town in their back pocket. The ultimate timeshare for people too poor to afford property in Aspen, but rich enough to buy this place out from under everyone. People who have survived whole lifetimes of winters up here. The tent and the lights and the little shops aren't for us. I need goals. I need a direction to follow. Like when I visit a new city. I usually start walking and I hope to get lost because finding my way back teaches me so much more about a place than I could ever learn from a guidebook or website. I'm tired of the cold. I'm tired of being broke and watching other people continually take. Lawyers, greedy family, spiteful exes. A government that cares more about a multi-billion-dollar bank than it does the people it's supposed to protect. Court systems and legislature that serve as money pumps to take from the poor and give back to the wealthy. I hope I don't sound like a victim, but honestly, I'm just fed up with a lot of this. I'm pissed off. Just because I'm stuck in a cold house in the middle of winter doesn't mean I have to like it. I can get fired up again. I can keep fighting for something I haven't fought for in a very long time. Myself. I fought for everyone else. Maybe this is that moment when you put your own mask on first as the plane is going down in flames. The holidays are hard for a lot of us. I think the thin veneer of joy and celebration is perpetuated by Lexus to sell off their overstock at the end of the year. The stores are decorated nice and pretty, but I can't imagine right now who can actually afford the good old-fashioned American capitalist Christmas without being up to their eyes in unsecured debt. They start in with this shit before Halloween, and by the time the holidays are upon us, we're all staggering around like drunks at last call. The dopamine withdrawals are about to hit about the same time the credit card statements start rolling in. We had the pressure of the perfect holiday, the perfect family, the snow on the ground, Mariah Carey in the mall, and everything being picture perfect. Lots of us don't have anything near that. Lots of us have years' worth of regret and missing loved ones. We have long nights just to make it through alone and wondering what the hell went wrong. I'm setting goals for myself. I'm making adjustments to my plans. I'm moving forward. Maybe on some level this house is witness to what it hasn't seen in a long time. Effort, passion, joyfulness. Because in spite of the cold and my circumstances, I am joyful. I laugh every day. Sometimes I laugh with people who are dear to me. Sometimes it's at something silly my dog does, or a funny movie or a stand-up comedian on TV. I'm expanding my circle of people who are close to me, too. I keep laughing. I'm getting that light back in my eyes that every motherfucker out there seems so determined to take away, as though that spirit of life is offensive to them. And lately I've allowed myself to let that kind of joy back in. I've been sleeping. I've been laughing more. I've been keeping up with my dishes and work assignments, and I don't feel alone anymore. I feel hopeful. I feel like a part of me was frozen for a long time, and I'm just letting my heart thaw out because it was empty and cold in there for so long. I'm trusting in my abilities and doing what I can to teach myself how to get to the next level, rather than waiting for someone to come around with a comically oversized check and some ridiculous number written across it. If I want something, I have to work for it. I have to apply my talents. I have to ignore the people who are waiting with bated breath for me to fail, just so they can laugh at me instead of with me. I have to embrace the suck. Falling asleep at the kitchen table reading about someone else's adventures is what victims do. I'm main character material for the story of my life. So I can think about what I want to do next, where I want to go, places I want to revisit, and ways to make these things serve what I want to do. I can think about visiting pecan groves near Deadwood, hopping on the tube in London, exploring Normandy, or catching sun on a beach in Greece. I am limited only by my own ass getting in my own way. This post was a lot of just kind of thinking out loud and getting my thoughts down. Sometimes it's good as an exercise to listen to yourself talk. Sometimes we believe what we say, and other times we shouldn't believe what we keep telling ourselves. But if we can actually vocalize it, sometimes it helps us to break it down. It becomes more real. We become more focused. We get perspective. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show, and bye for now.